any white heels going as far as into the storm to get that bunker. But now seeing where they are on the leaderboard, Peterbot and Pollo dropping down to second place, meaning that Thomas, HD, and Queasy are in first place.
Yeah, they are. I mean, what a turn of events right here. That's the first time this entire chapter that Peterbot and Pollo have placed outside of the top 25 in back-to-back games. And who's taking advantage of that? It's Thomas, HD, and Queasy. They would have seen Peterbot and Pollo going down in the feed, and you can see the way that they play this endgame. They weren't necessarily taking too many risks. You saw Thomas, HD playing out those med kits towards the end. We saw them sort of poised for height as well just before that sort of 9 stone started to pull, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out for them. They were in the prime position for it, and of course, as we know, Cammy and Seti ended up coming out on top there, but it was this moment right here, Thomas just squeezing out as many placements as possible, 6th place in the end. It's not an amazing game, it's not a first place like we saw in the game number 1, but it's a very, very good game to overtake that first place spot.
And honestly, with the lack of materials that they had at the end game there, they played it perfectly. They stayed to the low, they stayed back so that everyone that was staying in the front of zone where all that chaos is in the low and middle ground would not be affecting them. But of course, when you get down to just 6 teams, eyes are everywhere and you will eventually be caught out. But still, with what they were given in that game, Queasy and Thomas played that so well.
That's right, and for them, you know, it was looking good for Queasy and Thomas, right? There was just one problem. You look up and you're like, we got high right. You look up, oh, steady Cammy, nice. Wow, with that being said, though, we are prepared for more action here from the FNCS Global Championship. Game 9 is here and ready, so casters, take it away.
Yeah, you know, this is the dream for us as talent, watching this all play out and things starting to get close as we get to the final moments.
Look, everybody from a spectator point of view wants to see some close finishes, but Peterbot and Pollo, I kind of want to see them bounce back because we heard it from Peterbot on the call, just the most unlucky loot of his life. But let's see what Match 9 might have in store. Just like that, we are back. Technically, MDF approaching the halfway point on today. And with that in mind, this is where the pressure is really gonna start to surmount onto so many of these players. Queasy and Thomas, they have made it to the top of the leaderboard, but now it's all about maintaining that position.
Yeah, the truth is that it's only gonna get more and more difficult from here on out. You start to see the reality of the situation, and that's you actually have a chance now to take it all away. Every moment is going to come with that little bit of hesitation, right? That second opinion inside the back of your mind of whether or not it is the right move. end, most likely. Kovacs and Huddy have a lot to lose here. They are in 5th place. Sky and Scroll have a lot to gain as they can fight their way up to the top 5 potentially with one good game, given the multiplier.
Sky and Scroll, they're definitely familiar with these early contest fights off spawn, but couldn't help but notice what looked to be either King or Phaser kind of lurking just a ways further north from Rebel's Roost in the distance. So some possibilities of a third party to take place. It all depends on just how noisy this exchange actually manages to get. And in fact, it is King lurking nearby, potentially hoping for a moment to just stroll through, clean up some easy eliminations, get those points online, because we've already seen King and FaZe make a deep run into the end game in match 7, and they're definitely hoping to try and replicate some of that.
Also looking to just scrap this building out for what they can here in case the fight does come down to the basement. Sky and Skrull doing the same as well. Luckily enough, they're on the back side of the building, so FaZe and King don't quite have lights and eyes on them just yet. But I'm assuming the attention's gonna come in shortly. Give it a moment. Kovacs and Huddy catch a foot there. They know where one player is.
And look, we're familiar with these battles, these early exchanges, but everything that I've noticed so far here today, FDF, is that it's very evident so many of our competitors are just freestyling every single part of their strategy here today. No one is on the same loop paths, the same rotations that they were making all throughout the course of yesterday, and that has made it incredibly difficult for some of these teams that I think just got a little comfortable with what to expect, now having to completely switch things up on the fly.
Yeah, even this battle is gonna hit the brakes for a moment, but here we get a little update with Clix and Vino in the early game. What's happening here is that they're just trying to get situated for the first time in what feels like the entire tournament. Sandy Steps is in the zone. That's gonna change the dynamic quite a bit, actually, given that they won't be sitting in the storm potentially fighting other players, and other teams won't be just rotating in, expecting them to be there.
And again, Clix and Benno definitely like to play for the vending machine that's nearby so they can expend that little bit of extra time inside of the storm, tanking those early storm ticks without having to necessarily worry about it because they'll have that ample amount of white heals. But Skrull, Sky, currently recognizing the fact that there's more than just one other team nearby. And FaZe and King, they've actually got the cutoff route. The moment that any of these other two duos, whether it's Kovacs and Huddy or Sky and Skrull, chooses to try and depart from Rebel's Roost, they're gonna get held on the edge of zone depending on where FaZe and King box up. But not only that, FaZe and King, they have to close out on that exchange because they spent so much time not getting early surge tags.
Take a look what's happened here. Aviv already has an elimination, and Booga is right behind him right now. Remember, they land just a little further north, so sliding in, cleaning up. Trulex on the move right now, trying to get into the zone here. Being held out now by Booga and Aviv. They're gonna Flowberry Fizz and get a move here shortly. Take a look at the highlight. Aviv comes in, finds Shadow, cleaning up what's left of Virgo. And then T1 Michael takes the punishing shot there before pumping the brakes and backing off.
Peterbot and Poyo definitely looking a little bit more set up this time around, but Peterbot gonna find himself momentarily chopped, and Poyo. This duo currently is to secure this forecast tower, and with nobody else in sight, Poyo and Peterbot have just unlocked knowledge for every future zone this game, but now they have to make sure that they can actually transition this into a solid late game run because they've been cut short 2 times here today already. And again, no one looking to make it easy for this team.
Talk about Michael and Job. We're making that rotate out. Seems like an equally as dangerous duo's got sights on him. Vico and Flixie now making a move here, pushing into the wall, grabs the first one, takes the second. He's fast, he's quick. The reaction is so good for Flixie. And now up from top, coming in to see if he can end this. Vico grabs that wall, cuts him off, the double edit, the triple, doesn't find it. Backs off now. Great defense from Michael here as he finds 2 tags, so he is effectively putting up a very good defense, but I just have to, yeah, I was gonna say, give all respects here, of course, to the EU duo and back up.
That just seemed like such a stubborn battle there for Job, though. I mean, he could have looked to try and throw up another wall, maybe try and buy himself a little bit more time. Potentially may have just run out of materials, I'd have to assume. Michael down to wood build, so this duo definitely looking to be a little bit of shambles here. And Flixie, Vico know that they've got an extra 6 points waiting for them the moment they secure this elimination onto Michael. And finally, another 12 points will be secured. And not only that, but opening up the opportunity to continue trying to control other teams that are stuck just on the outside of the edge zone, closer to where some of the new POIs are located.
That was third place. This is fourth. Trulex and Chicho, as we're bending into the late half of the tournament now. Much more of a difficult game for Chicho and Trulex here, who, again, clearly have a bit of a problem at the drop being held out. What a shot. It's almost as if every time we tune in, that Monarch pistol damage is incredible. Is finding its mark. So what's happening on the other side of the sandy steps, though? The zone landed here. We talked about that changing the dynamic of the game. And surely we're seeing it start to come into play now. As Resigns and Dama have made it up the storm, so is Shari and Giras, the same teams here. But then off in the distance, you have Peterbot with the eyes on the prize here.
Not only that, but Benno as well, keeping himself concealed just enough. Gets the chop onto Resigns' floor. Also gets a few tags in, but still not enough for Benno to want to key him just yet. Instead, he's going to regroup with Clicks and continue to hold down the station. But it's just a very difficult time to try and break away when you know that there's two other teams duking it out just above you on the hill.
Kovacs almost missed the train there, but he gets it just in time to join Huddy. They're pretty desperate if they're trying to secure loot from here. And that's the results, again, of sitting in the storm, being contested, being held a little too long for a moment there.
Huddy not even going to choose to stick around. They wanted the train. They nearly had it. But the fact is, MPF, they're going to have to leave this one empty-handed. And now, it's only a handful of bandages in tow. Huddy and Kovacs could potentially be staring down the barrel of their own downfall. It was a risky play to try and make it for the train. I respect the call, though. The commitment, though, just impossible to find with so many eyes on.
Bunker play right now for Ping. No teammate, unfortunately, lost here just outside the underworld. So even for Huddy and Kovacs, there's still danger nearby. You never know who's sitting in the storm. Just really shows you that anything can happen. Meanwhile, Bryce and Bolts, this is one of the few times we've actually caught up with them kind of in the early / mid game here as things are starting to develop. This time it's up against Body Out and Reason. The floor tick here for Bolts. Bryce playing the other angles. Bad damage though coming in first.
Padilla has just been on fire today. He is not willing to budge. The moment that he sees an opening, he is immediately shooting back and typically winning out on some of those exchanges. And now he's able to overtake the high ground because of the damage that he applied onto Bolts just now. But Reason, the moment he starts to crank up, another team in the distance, a solo even, potentially threatening his position. Got a few shots in, but Bryce, Bolts, potentially not fully aware of the damage that Reason just absorbed. And they're gonna choose to actually sit into the low ground and wait for a new opportunity to see if they can engage yet again with the Germans.
Reason and Vidal playing a dangerous game here, though. A lot of these walls are not theirs. They are sitting in all this Bolts and Bryce territory. Now they have successfully infiltrated, if you will, this base here and taken over a good portion of it. Bryce is looking like he might be going for the edit out. If I've ever seen one, it's definitely getting set up. They recognize what's happening, and for that reason, jump back down.
Again, though, this is a lot of time being spent from both sides, and we've already seen a lot of teams here today struggling with some of these surge thresholds. and maintaining damage that puts them in a position where they can just be comfortable on their rotates. And the longer these fights draw out, the easier it is for other duos to get ahead of you, to look back, take shots, prevent you from entering a solid position inside of the zone. And Baka and Pars, a little bit more so in control. Surge base inside of the heart of Nitrodrome. They've got a couple of white heals collected at the top of their base. Meanwhile, finally getting a little peek into what Cold and Acorn have been up to. Relatively quiet day so far, but we heard it first from Acorn. He's after that trophy.
Day 2 team still yet to show us it today. Couple of points slipping down here from Acorn and Cold. You know, these things do happen. The adjustments being made by the other opponents have surely affected their strategy. But they will have to continue to adjust here, continue to make up for it. Bugha and Aviv seem to be on a faster track here today as well. Let's see what's going on here. So from one fight to a potential other, they're just getting situated. Seems like they found their home for now.
Slight gift as well. An extra bottle of Flowberry Fizz now to work with. Aviv and Bugha just want to make sure that they establish as much of a foundation as possible. Got a decent position inside of the zone, so don't need to make any risky plays when you're sitting with as much surge damage as they were, 333 above. But Acorn Cold tapping back in. It's Sato. They managed to find him yet again, but it's actually going to be Damo on the other side of the walls. Lot of traction picking up here. Just outside of Sandy Steps, and Acorn Cold, they're looking to collect. Cold still barreling down onto Cal Gamer, but just above, the backup has arrived, and Cold, he's going to have to disengage.
Yeah, Taman out of nowhere here, diving across, trying to get into this fight. Acorn and Cold almost had a set of eliminations waiting for them, but due to Clix and Vino shooting in at the box when they initiated, everything went downhill for a moment there. And now they're just trying to find a tag as they're below the surge, so they're in honestly desperate situation here.
At the same time, Acorn tries to take the walls there, but instead it's gonna be Cal and Amon doing what they can, but again, Cold getting a little bit too much foot traffic here. Cal still holding his position firm. He doesn't have his duo any longer, but Clix, Veno, they got the shots that they needed to. They know that they can third party this, no problem. Cold, he's so weakened as is. Cal just below. Two separate solos that Veno and Clix could look to collect on.
Yeah, they've definitely started to change their focus in purely onto Cold now as they send him running. Now looking to see if they can pick up the spoils of the loot from Acorn, but nothing just yet, as they're kind of lost in this mix. And little do they know, there is an Antilex and Sato here, right? So that team hasn't made any noise now, but look at that. They do secure the gear here. Very nice pickup for them. If nothing else, it was damage and new loot.
They basically just got to reap all the benefits of these exchanges that Acorn and Cold had initially established. And Cold, yet again, caught off guard, was trying to keep himself tucked away, but Cal gets the job done. At the very least, he'll have those two solid eliminations onto Acorn and Cold to work with, but he knows he's likely not safe for a whole lot longer here, because Veno and Clix, they've got an idea. They heard those shots go off. They're waiting for Cal to surface from these builds. But at the same time, they also kind of want to get a move on because they don't want to get stuck in the storm for too much longer here.
Yeah, it seems like Vino's going to give the call out here. Let's just get out, play smart. Clix is going to have to stop and heal for a second. They're going to huddle up together. Cal Gamer will live to see another day. Very, very close engagement there.
I always think it's so impressive how every single time we check in with Queasy and Thomas HD today, it just seems like they have so much surge, and for good reason, but somebody who wishes they had a little bit of backup at this point. Kovacs just lost his duo to King, and this exchange has been trailing them ever since the Rebels roost. King and Phaser have refused to leave Kovacs and Huddy alone, but now Kovacs as a solo, he's got to deal with the likes of Breet and Ritual to his east, and not only that, but a collection of duos slightly west of his current position. A late rotate is going to be a necessity if he wants to power his way through here, but some of the shots that he's applying, he knows he needs to get that damage just above threshold, and still exposing his position. It's a risky engage.
Bugha and Aviv on the other side find their way to the new zone. The half in, half out already revealed. They're below the surge though. They will have to find a duo or land on someone shortly, and from their sights, there isn't anyone nearby. There it is. Finally, they see a fresh build. It's going to be Teeny, and it's a single box, so the confidence is surging here, but Bugha damage first. No extra heals. This is all around disastrous, right, for Bugha and Aviv right now. And it's only a matter of moments. They will have to do something shortly. Meanwhile, Huddy already out. Kovacs below the surge as well. Will fall here shortly if he can't find a tag now. But Reet finds it instead, and that's your 5th place team now. Consistency tossed down for once. And it's looking like a repeat performance of yesterday for Huddy and Kovacs.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to really be able to bulldoze your way as a solo through Reet and Ritual of all duos. Peterbot and Pollo, though, this is the furthest we've seen them make it all day today, so they're clearly trying to ramp up for a big performance here in the 9th lobby, but Clix and Benno, on the other hand, they've got Gears and Sherry in their sights. Got a very efficient cutoff, but more importantly still, they need more damage. It's gonna take them some time, but finally Clix will connect. 77 above though. Damage threshold just continuing to threaten so many of our teams here today.
Yeah, if you were hoping to get lucky with Peterbot and Pollo, that already happened, right? Like 2 games, unprecedented. Doesn't happen often for them not to be in the end game. So this is everyone's chance now. The playing field has been even. Nicely done by Aviv here. Not only did he actually pick up and save Bugha, but he manages to find damage to keep them in the game, and enough damage on the duo to have them to stop peeking so they can rotate, but it is not looking good for Aviva and Bugha. I don't know what more we can expect of them, but there are a lot of duos there. Toyota and Mapoli, the strongest Asian duo from day number 1. They finished in 10th, so they came in today with a lot to live up to, but have fallen a bit short now up against the likes of Aviv and Bugha here. What can Ping and Walks do?
If there's ever a time to prove himself, it's now for Aviv, but he has so little HP to work with. But he has plenty of targets surrounding him. Bugha, though, just too low for the count. Sato's gonna find him. Aviv trying to go massive now to Reet. A little bit of spoiler, getting some tags and cracking those shields. But the fact of the matter is, Aviv and Bugha, they squeeze their way into the top 10, but they still go down for it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Thomas HD, you see there, just racking up eliminations, damage, everything that you could be hoping for. And there's another one onto K Shoto outside of the zone here, trying to make their late rotates. Clicks, it is not looking good for him at the moment, as he's also in the storm right now. Vino is down. This is just a desperate spot to be in.
Clix, if anything, was just hoping to play for maybe another elimination at the end of the day, though. He's only got a little bit of sliver of HP to work with, but it's just enough. He might be able to clutch out at least 1 or 2 more placements if he can just stay hidden, fully concealed from the rest of the lobby. Only 3 builds, though, MDF. I fear we're looking at the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it's definitely looking really close here. 8 HP for Clix, 3 mats to work with. Late on the rotate here, barely above the surge. It's just so tough. But he's staying alive here, earning little bits of placement, right? All this does start to add up here. Finds Mapoli, very weak. Almost gets an elimination there. Someone else ends up stealing it, but still, he's in the game right now, holding on.
He's at least got that 33 damage above the threshold. But again, MDF, it's just the odds so fully stacked against him. Any of these next builds that he crosses over could be his last. Teams could just be waiting for a perfect opportunity to scoop up a free 6 points. from the backside of the zone, though. Clicks continue to try and charge through, hoping that he could catch another player off guard, but he sees Gone. He knows that there's a knocked body, but he won't be able to power through and push into these boxes with the armored walls going up, instead of trying to remain concealed. But Boyo and Peterbot, they're gonna find him.
Of course, it's Boyo and Peterbot waiting to catch them in the web. Look at this though, Cammy and Seti. They talked about what they need to do in order to win this tournament here, and that is win more games. They got the last round, and then they didn't even sit down and celebrate. They know that they have to stay absolutely locked in here. But Queasy and Thomas HD are doing the same right now. Below the surge though, things can continue to develop here. Vico and Flixie now on the move. 3 Elans. Peterbot and Boyo very, very situated right now, but low on material.
Low on material, not only that, but Vico and Flixie hot on the heels as well. You have to consider they're making up a lot of lost ground just off the eliminations alone. And Peterbot and Boyo know it. They're just gonna try to play it out and control the low ground for the time being. But with that reveal medallion scanner having just gone out, it's a fresh opportunity for them to see if they can close in on somebody else. Chicho, though, with a big tag onto CZB. That's going to be the knock. And Peterbot, instead, finding Badil in the bottom layers. That's going to be a beautiful refresh for him at Boyo.
This is starting to look like a 4-way race unless Dukes and Sphinx can get a win. They're another top 10 team, of course. But Peterbot and Boyo are cooking right now. And also, they picked up material here. This low ground performance is one to take note of. On the other side, Thomas HD and Queasy are also playing the low ground here, but not so hot looking for them at the moment as they are running out of material. So very different start situations happening here.
They're at least healthy, though, and with that Gatekeeper shotgun primed, it only takes one good shot for Thomas HD to find the refresh necessary. They're going to continue to sink in from behind the rest of the foot traffic there, playing from the backside of zone. Peterbot, Boyo, meanwhile, staying ahead of the pack.
Thomas
has lost Thomas. He's going to opt for the medkit opportunity instead, and with 0 builds remaining, it's all going to boil down to whether or not he can even make it into the zone and stay concealed enough for nobody else to pick him off.
There it is. He's going to break through the sidewall hunt. This is all been edited. Baka's very weak. White HP. The armor wall comes through. Not worth, of course, pursuing at this moment. He has to focus in on staying in the front side here. No builds to work with. Enemy around the backside. Can he get one more point for him? This is huge for Queasy now. Earning points, earning eliminations. He has to stay ahead of Peterbot, who is on the low ground with a down teammate. Peterbot, so much more to work with, however. It's still so close for everyone else. Another med kit is going to start coming out for Queasy.
He's just doing everything he can to survive. Peterbot, though, going to pick up Teeny in the process. Queasy finds another into Rapid. Not going to get a chance, though, to collect the body loot. Instead, he's scrambling, trying to remain out of sights here. Tulix and Chicho right behind him, but Peterbot grabs him in the end.
That's exactly what he needed as well. Peterbot trying to take back these points here. Finishing off Trulex now inside of a top 5 situation up on height. It's Dukes though with Peterbot looking to fight back. Do not count him out. It is all solos remaining here. Tito goes down. The next one is down too. Batman Booga sent back to the lobby. 3 players now here. Peterbot looking at 1v1v1 and another one. Down goes Bars. Can he find the final fight here? Dukes is excellent in these type of scenarios, but Peterbot is just a little better. Up top, the high ground hit is good, and he needs to go. And he does it again.
Peterbot, there is a reason why everyone is regarding him as the best in the world, and with a performance like that, he might just be.
Put him in the box, wrap him up, and send them back to the lobby is the motto here. Well played.
Would you please, forward, put your hands together for Peterbot and Boyo! My, Peterbot, that is how, that was ice cold. That is how you do it. Walk us through the last part of the game there. We just saw you sweep up. You are like unstoppable.
Yeah, I don't know. I just eliminated everyone. I mean, everyone was a solo player on me. Gold Gatekeeper with Drum Mag. I was just eliminating everyone, it was pretty easy.
I mean, you're right there with the guy. The crowd are behind you too. Poyo, unbelievable work from your duo partner here. When you see that in the end game, how are you reacting? How are you feeling in that moment?
I saw it was 5 solos, and I just had a feeling he was going to win the game, too. I just had a feeling.
You just had the instinct. You just knew it was going to happen. Peterbot as well, obviously, the first 2 games, they didn't go according to plan, but that is the way to go into the break on this final Sunday. How do you guys feel like the first 2 games, things are really looking good now going into this break. What do you do to regroup during this halftime break?
Yeah, we're going to talk to our coach and go over the first 2 games and see what went wrong, and yeah, we'll go from there.
And anything you want to say to Queasy and Thomas HD for the first couple of matches as well? I mean, obviously the crowd here are very excited too. He's checking his stats on screen. He's looking at the leaderboard, and we have ourselves a, hey, this is flip-flopping all the way here, but there's a difference in points now. You guys are back on top.
Thank God. God did.
Okay, and Poyo, going into this last part now, you two, how are you feeling? Are you confident that that is definitely within your grasp? 3 games left to go.
Yeah, I think we can win. Just replicate what we did last game and the other games we won yesterday as well.
Okay, well, let's see exactly how it's going to unfold. One more time, Fort Worth, give it up for Peterbot and Poyo! This is one serious Global Championships final. 3 games left to play today. We can't wait to see what happens next. Zeke, what do you guys think? This is blowing my mind.
My hands are up. My hands are up. I don't know what's happening anymore. I cannot even believe this. First off, how did this game end as a solos? This is a duos competition, solos running around, and just the fact that Peterbot pulls off one of the most insane solo clutches, right? I mean, Poyo goes down in 11.
Yeah, and then Peterbot, one by one, systematically takes out the rest of the lobby. And you can see it in his load up right there. And he called it out, the gatekeeper, with that drum mag. So no longer does he just have 3 shots. Oh, is there 5 solos? Oh, perfect. That's exactly what I have in my gatekeeper. I am going to take down everyone. And it was such a good run from them on the low ground. Even though they did have a little bit of a rough start with these first 2 games of the day, they did not let that knock them down. And now they're knocking everyone else out.
I mean, this is what you need to do to win a global championships. You need massive solo clutches like this. I mean, these final moments right here, every single elimination, every single refresh he was able to get was just compounding. Look at all these builds that he was able to get. Double elimination right there was absolutely crazy. And I noticed when I looked at the Duke's POV, Duke's had no materials. So Peterbot had the advantage. This elimination on low ground was crazy as well. Peterbot had so many more materials than him, so he took height perfectly. And I thought for a moment there was a moment last Globals where Dukes had an insane solo clutch from the low ground. I thought, are we going to see a similar sort of thing again? But then, of course, it's Peterbot. He was only going to win that.
You know, they like to say that sometimes people like to put people into a false sense of security. Oh, Peterbot and Poyo, day 2, they're washed. Everyone else, this is when they put them into that sense of, maybe we have a chance. Oh no, Peterbot and Poyo, they're still there to fight. They're still there to show that they are the best in the world and at the top of the leaderboard.
Oh no, they've reclaimed that spot for just a moment. Thomas HD Queasy had it. And for a moment, it was like, okay, the reign's over. Could this be the moment? And then Peterbot and Poyo answered that question. No! Nice try, fools! I cannot believe what we just witnessed. And 10 eliminations. Remember, the victory is worth 100 points by itself.
Yes.
You slap 60 points on top of that. Here we are. Here we are.